Have you ever found yourself waiting for something that felt like it was taking an eternity? Think about the anticipation we feel while waiting for a special gift, or the joy of seeing a plant you've cared for over several months finally bloom. Our journey of faith is similar. Many times we are in a moment of waiting, anxious for the miracle we desire. But it is during these times that we need to remember that there is a right time for everything. Waiting can be challenging and sometimes discouraging. Have you ever felt this way? It is common for uncertainty to make us question whether we will be heard. However, it is important to understand that patience is a virtue that strengthens us. What we need is a trust that keeps us steady, even when the path seems unclear. Are you ready to open your heart and let yourself be guided? God is always present, even when we do not see Him. He knows each of our longings and, more importantly, understands what is best for us. Waiting is not a sign that He is not listening, but rather an invitation for us to strengthen our faith and develop a deeper relationship with Him. Are you ready to trust that in His time the promises will be fulfilled? At this moment, I invite you to join us on this journey of faith. Let's open ourselves to the blessings that are yet to come. Prepare to receive the miracle you are waiting for it is on its way. What you need to do now is allow hope to blossom in your heart and let faith become your anchor. Together, let us believe that this miracle is not only possible, but is something God wishes to deliver to each of us. What will you do today to prepare for this wonderful surprise? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. It is written in Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 25. This passage invites us to reflect on the power of patience in our spiritual journey. Waiting can be a difficult experience filled with doubts and insecurities. However, this waiting is also a time of preparation. It is in this space that we can strengthen our trust, knowing that even when we do not see, God is working on our behalf. He has a plan for each of us, and even if the miracle has not yet arrived, the assurance that He is with us sustains us. Thus, waiting transforms into an act of faith, where we open ourselves to receive the blessings that are to come. Lord, I come before you with an open heart, acknowledging my weaknesses and uncertainties. I confess that in moments of waiting, I often doubted your goodness. Forgive me for drifting away from you when difficulties arise. Help me renew my faith, to understand that your mercy is infinite and that even in my failures you are always willing to embrace me. May I learn to trust fully in your plans, even when the vision is unclear. I recognize that I need you in every step of my journey. Lord, at this moment I come to you with a heart filled with gratitude. I thank you for every sunrise, for each opportunity to live and learn. I am grateful for your love that never fails and for all the blessings I have already received in my life. Even on difficult days when hope seems distant, I know you are by my side taking care of me. Thank you for every small miracle that reveals itself in my daily life, for every smile, for every hug, for every moment that makes me feel your presence. Help me recognize your goodness in everything around me. May my heart always be open to praise and worship you, for you are the reason for my joy. May I live in gratitude and share that love with those who cross my path. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This is the message we find in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. This passage clearly and powerfully reminds us that God has a purpose for each one of us. He does not just watch over us, He deeply cares about our lives. The plans He has for us are of peace, not of harm, and this is a promise we should embrace. Have you ever stopped to think about what it means to trust that these plans are good? Life can be full of challenges and uncertainties, but it is essential to hold on to hope. Despite the difficulties, it is important to remember that a bright future lies ahead of us. What do you desire for your life? What dreams are tucked away in your heart? Even if they seem distant, know that God is at work to bring those desires to fruition. The question remains, are you willing to trust Him even when everything seems uncertain? The answer is simple. Yes, we must trust. He is always by our side, guiding us and strengthening us. As we understand this truth, we find the courage to keep moving forward, even in life's storms. No matter what you are facing today, remember that God has plans of peace for you. He desires for you to live with hope and confidence. Therefore, stand firm in faith, knowing that each step taken toward him is a step toward the fulfillment of his plans for your life. Let us remember the story of the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years, as described in the book of Mark, chapter 5, verses 25 to 34. She had suffered greatly at the hands of doctors, and despite spending all she had, found no cure. When she heard about Jesus, she approached him from behind and touched his cloak, believing, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately, her faith healed her. Jesus, realizing that someone had touched him, asked who had done it. The woman, trembling, confessed. He welcomed her, saying, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." This story teaches us about the power of faith in moments of despair. The woman did not let pain and rejection stop her from seeking healing. In her quest, she shows us that even amidst difficulties, faith can lead us to a miracle. Like her, we are invited not to give up, to persist, and to believe that as we approach God sincerely, we find the healing and restoration we so desperately need. May we draw inspiration from her courage and determination, remembering that true faith can open doors and transform realities. Lord, I come to you with an open heart, presenting all my needs and desires. You know the struggles I face and the barriers that seem insurmountable. I ask that you intervene in my life, bringing relief from my pain and answers to my questions. Help me find the strength to keep believing even when the wait feels long. May I feel your presence around me, comforting and guiding me with every step. Renew my faith and give me the courage to move forward, knowing that the miracle I seek is part of your plans. May I always remember that even in difficulties, you are with me, listening to every cry of my heart. Once upon a time, there was a person facing a tremendous challenge. For years, they battled an illness that seemed endless. Every day was a struggle, and discouragement was constant. In the midst of this fight, they decided to seek medical help. But even after several consultations and treatments, nothing seemed to work. The pain and frustration began to weigh heavily, and they felt lost, unsure of whom to turn to. In a moment of despair, they remembered hearing about people who found hope in faith. So they made a choice. They began to pray sincerely, asking not only for healing but also for the strength to face each day. With each prayer, they felt a growing inner peace, as if a light was starting to shine in the darkness. Even though the miracle had not yet arrived, the confidence in a better future began to blossom within them. Over time, this faith infused hope into their life, and they started to notice small signs of change. The story of this person reminds us that even in the toughest times, faith can guide us. When we open ourselves to believe, we find strength where there was once despair. This journey of faith is not limited to waiting for a miracle. It also involves recognizing the small blessings that surround us. And so instead of being consumed by pain, she found a new purpose and a fresh perspective on life. In the end, her health began to improve, but more importantly, she learned that true healing starts within us in trusting something greater. Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible for one who believes." This passage is presented to us in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 9, verse 23. The words of Jesus challenge us to reflect on the power of faith in our lives. Often we face situations that seem impossible, and it is easy to lose hope. However, this statement reminds us that for those who believe, there are no limits. When we encounter adversity, it is essential to remember that faith is a force capable of moving mountains. Sometimes, what we need is a little push, a spark of hope that makes us believe that things can change. This passage encourages us to look beyond difficulties, to have the courage to believe that with faith anything is possible. By internalizing this message, we are invited to set aside fear and doubt, and to open ourselves to the wonders that God can perform in our lives. Therefore, may we remember, in every challenge, that our faith can transform reality and lead us toward a future full of hope. Lord, at this moment I come to you with a heart full of gratitude and surrender. I offer not only the material goods I possess, but above all, my life and my heart. May this act of surrender be a symbol of my faith in you and in your purpose. Help me to recognize that everything I have is yours, and that by sharing, I am contributing to the fulfillment of your plans. May I be a channel of blessings in the lives of others, and use the gifts you have given me to glorify your name. May my surrender be sincere, and may I trust that in every act of generosity, I am planting seeds of hope and love for those who cross my path. May my life reflect your goodness, and by offering myself, may I experience the joy of serving. In Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8, Jesus teaches us about the importance of perseverance in prayer. He shares the parable of a widow who, in front of an unjust judge, did not give up seeking justice. Even when her request was ignored, she continued to insist. This story reminds us that persistence is essential in our journey of faith. Like the widow, we must be tireless in our petitions. Faith is not just believing in a miracle, but also having the courage to keep asking, even when the challenges seem great. May we learn from this lesson and be inspired by the determination of this woman, remembering that God values our persistence and is always attentive to the cry of our hearts. Lord, at this moment, I come to you with a heart full of longing and hope. I present to you all my worries and needs, knowing that you know each one of them before I even mention them. I ask that you look upon me with mercy and intervene in my life. Help me to keep my faith strong even in times of uncertainty. May I feel your comforting presence and know that I am not alone. Renew in me the courage to continue waiting for the miracle I so desire. I trust that the answer will come in your perfect timing, and that in the meantime your peace sustains me. As we conclude, let us remember that hope is an anchor that keeps us steady amid life's storms. We are ready to receive the miracles that God has prepared for us. May each of us continue to cultivate faith, knowing that even in moments of waiting, He is at work. If this video has touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to receive updates on new content. Every day, we have prayer videos that can bring you peace and inspiration. We would like to know, what miracle are you waiting for? Share in the comments and let's pray together for it. May God bless each of you with renewed faith and hope.